All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the City of Liberty Lake Parks and Arts Commission, and today is April 17th, 2023. Calling the meeting to order. Commissioners present are Hill, Imbaugh, Frank, Chamberlain, Laparco. Is Bob on Zoom?
He is not, and I have not heard from him.
Okay, so Commissioner Barr can't make it today. He let us know, and we haven't heard yet from Commissioner Schneidmiller. Did everyone get the minutes from March 6th meeting? And if so, did you have any questions, corrections, or additions? There's none. Did we have a motion?
I'll move to approve the meeting notes from March.
I second that.
Been moved and approved. All in favor? Okay. Unanimously. Can you say it today? It's approved. Oh, okay. Citizen comments. I see we have well, not quite a citizen. Councilman Solberg.
Oh, sure.
The appropriate.
The kids lost the connection. We had my son-in-law knew somebody who was lost in the explosion. My name is Tom Solberg, resident of the City of Liberty Lake and the River District, and I'm coming to you as a citizen. However, I had some information that came to me that I didn't know any other way to bring it to you. Nancy said it was okay to present. This isn't anything you need to act on right now, but if it lights a fire underneath anybody, when I saw it, was one of the things that we meaning those of us that were on this commission, said, oh, that sounds like a really good idea. Maybe we could do that here. All of us know somebody who has communication challenge, autism, or spectrum, and especially if they're a young child, or, and I think David, I think you work with kids that have different abilities. I'm not going to say challenges because I think they're really gifted kids. And this is an opportunity to have in our parks and library and maybe some other public places this idea, which is a board that has symbols that someone who has challenges. Oh, you already put it on there. Jan, I didn't get a hold of you on purpose. Here's a packet. I'm starting. Well, this is for your. You can keep this, and if it lights a fire under anybody, there's no budget this year. I know for you, so I'm not trying to propose it to you, but you get the picture, and she's putting up what the boards look like, so that someone can communicate with kids, and so that if we had it custom made for us, if there was something that you're trying to explain about what an orchard was or something. It would be a way of communicating less than necessarily verbally. It could be through symbols somehow. And it would make our parks and our library that much more inclusive for people who may have difficulty. And that includes some behavioral difficulties where maybe a kid wants to talk to another kid at the park and they're having the young entrepreneurs out there. Somebody wants to know what it is and they can't put it to verbally, they can't express it verbally. So I thought this was a great idea. Coincidentally, the founder of this, did you get to watch the video?
No, not yet.
The founder of this was from Rowlett, Texas. Anybody know? Anybody see anybody from Rowlett, Texas? That's where Mark is from. Oh. And we have a couple of people in our family here that are that would be really included in this. And I think it would be a great idea. I'm not asking you to put it on a budget or have a discussion, but if it plants a seed, if anybody looks, I know this isn't a back and forth here, but if it's something that looks interesting to you, please grab it. And if there's anything I can do to help, I'm not going to be in this role for very long, so I'll be happy to help. And there already are a couple of donors that would be willing to put in the money, and I know we have to go through the Dayton City Council to get that approved, but we could probably at least fund out of the community, not out of your budget, at least one of them, if not more. So, yes, sir.
So, have you seen this in other parks?
I have seen the idea. I didn't know what it was. Have you? Yeah, it's in hundreds of parks now.
Okay.
And it's in, and it started in Texas and it's gone throughout the country.
So we can look it up on the internet.
You can, there's actually on the email that's there, and if Nancy wants to share the email with you, if it lights a fire under you, if Nancy wants to share with you the email, there's a YouTube video, maybe 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, that describes what they could do for us. And then this packet I've given you gives you everything, including the prices for the options for doing it. I see it in the parks, potentially farmers market or the city, whatever we want to call that area. Maybe here in City Hall and certainly in the library, possibly even schools. I haven't presented to anybody. It just came to me, came through the city email to me. It's the only way I know how to present it. That's how most of our ideas came to us.
Another quick,
Yeah.
It's a beautiful idea.
It's one of those, it just ran with me. And yeah.
do you know if there are any locally that, you know, we could do a field trip to?
Doesn't sound like it, and even though this, you could tell was it came to officials, and I don't know if it came to the rest of the city council or if it came to any of the city officials. I didn't even check with anybody. I razzed Mark because when I watched the video, this person had to have presented to somebody that he knew, and they hadn't. So thank you for putting that on there. That's very kind of you. It makes it easier. Nice. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom, for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for all you're doing. I still sit in on almost all the meetings, and I fully intend to sit in on more in the future. So keep up the great work.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And just a reminder to make sure your microphones are turned on for the meeting.
Any other citizen comments?
So my name is Derek Kaseki.
Is that microphone on there?
Press and hold the button on top.
So my name is Derek Kaseki. I'm the street supervisor for here at Liberty Lake. Last year, just kind of give you guys an update. Last year, I touched a truck. We were having the kids sign out the plows and stuff like that, just trying to get the community a little bit more involved with us. This year, one of the thoughts I had was to get with the high school and possibly have the art group or the art class do some drawings, and just be mainly landscape drawings or maybe an overhead of the golf course or something like that. I talked to them and they are on board with doing it. But when I discussed with Jen earlier, I didn't want to move forward with anything that would be art related without touching base with you guys first, and make sure you guys were okay with that. For one to be involved with that or anything. So that was mainly what I was here for tonight.
Are you talking about on the blades of the plow?
Yeah, so it'd be on, we have 2 loaders and 1 Freightliner truck. So it'd be just murals that would be on those. They get, obviously, each year with the snow plowing, the friction and stuff like that, they'd be removed and then repainted the following year. We thought it'd be something kind of fun for the senior classes to get involved with. Again, another way to kind of get the community involved.
That sounds like a,
idea.
yeah, great idea.
I love the Santa hat on the plow. I actually drove my grandkids there just to see that behind Starbucks one morning. We gotta go see the Santa
Oh, the
hat.
one in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they just wanted to bring it forward and present it to you all for the support to move forward, or if you have ideas or suggestions, now would be a good time to.
I just don't want to do anything and step on your guys' toes, obviously. I just want to make sure that we're all kind of on the same board.
Yeah, I think it's lovely. I know my own child and my niece and nephew love seeing this stuff, and if there's art involved, then all the better.
Okay. All right, well, I'll make sure to keep Jen updated with pictures and stuff like that, and she can bring it to your guys' meetings, or I'll cover the next time as well. So. Okay,
Thanks for
Thank you.
coming, and yeah, it sounds like a fun idea, and I'm sure the kids will love it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Derek. Thank you, Derek.
Okay, any citizen comments from online?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay, well, let's move ahead. Currently we kind of have the standardized agenda, and I was talking to Jen, the staff report is typically number 5. And I know last time we amended the agenda, so when people are coming and visiting with us, that they could come up. And I'm wondering how the commission might feel about moving the staff report to be agenda item number 7, and then moving the other numbers up. So that means number 6 would be next on this agenda, and that's usually when we have the visitors coming in to present, and that way they don't have to sit through the whole staff report before they will be coming, like we amended it last time. Does anybody else think that might be a good idea? So we don't have visitors have to wait? Okay. Okay, do we need a motion, Jenny?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we need a motion to move the staff report item 5, move that to number 7, and move the other items each up a step. Do we have a motion?
I move that we move the staff report to item number 7 and move the other agendas up one. I'll second that.
All right, it's moved and seconded. All in favor? All right, we're approved. So given that, I hope we're not going to throw anybody off that's coming today. We'll go to item 6 now, unfinished and new business, starting with graffiti barrels. Is Rolf online?
I'm not seeing Rolf. No.
Oh, and there he is.
There he is.
Sure.
Just in time.
Come on in.
Sorry,
If you
I was
want to step up to the podium, I was just announcing you.
Oh, yeah, I heard that and I wasn't sure if this is where you were at or. Anyway.
Yeah, welcome. And I think did he leave the microphone on?
Hello.
Yep.
It's strange talking in the microphone, a small group.
So I know, Rolf, that I'm Nancy, that we had communicated after you saw the article in the Splash.
Yeah.
And you had some great ideas when you read about the graffiti barrel program. Do you want to share those with the other commissioners?
Let me see, trying to think which the graffiti mural, what were we, you might have to refresh me again where we were talking about.
Well, you were talking about, setting aside a couple of the graffiti barrels for special needs.
Oh, yeah, I often, don't refer to it as graffiti.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
The only reason we're calling it that is I think that was the idea that you happen to see and share, but we could obviously think about a different name too.
Oh,
That's a chance for children to graffiti the right way, a trash barrel.
or just, paint at their own, pace.
Yeah,
Paint at their own abilities. And there's different things you can do that, with the schools, with after school programs. Or any school. One of the things that we did in Spokane with a let's see, it was we did it with Spokane Public Schools. We did one of the schools, and there's the chain link fence areas where you organize and have people supply like a 4x8 sheet of plywood,
okay.
and then everybody. So you have a small enough group, so they all get to kind of paint and create the mural, like maybe with 3, 4, 5 kids on that thing, and then you just assemble all these pieces together and you put them along a fence line, like at the park or at the school grounds or any place like that. So it's a way of or you can also do these things in schools, where the kids can get involved. We've done this with different schools where you create something small for a small group to work on, and then they work on that. They complete it in a manageable way. You assemble the whole thing, and then into a more completed mural if you want. Mm-hmm. I did one too for a school in downtown Spokane, still at River Park Square. But basically, we did little tiles, just small sections, and so maybe a couple, maybe a pair. Got to paint a small 1x1 section. And what I did is I kind of drew it out. So the drawing was, you could see the whole drawing was like a Spokane with the falls and everything else. And then they just painted it in any style I wanted. So what you did is you had all these pieces, tiles put together to a big mural, all done on like MDF, and then like for indoors. And then if you put it together, you can see the whole picture running through the whole thing. And that's kind of nice.
Well, I remember when you reached out to me and we spoke, and I mentioned that we had ordered the barrels and that the library was going to be running the program for teens. to get involved in that. And you were talking about an idea you had about setting a couple of the barrels aside for a different group to work on.
Which were the barrels? Oh,
The
yeah.
55-gallon trash barrels.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, and then you could get a group together, either, organize like special needs. Often that's what I do, because
Yeah,
that's
you
an
were
area-
talking about special needs.
Yeah,
that
that's an area that I like to get to folks, because often there's just not opportunities for, unless somebody, kind of organizes that part of it. And then, either in the schools, like I work with, Micah Peak, folks and know the people there, and it's easy to find people to organize, the faculty and just say, we're having this kind of a thing. And organize a time when it works for them and works for here, for them to be able to come out, because usually they have specific times, unless, then you go directly to families.
right.
Which is a little harder to do, if you go to the faculty, like a peak, where they're kind of in the parts anyway. So you just organize something, then they just come out and,
Right.
and you kind of plan it out and say, this is what we're doing, I want you guys to have at it, basically.
Right, we were talking that our barrel painting program is really being administered by the library.
Yeah.
And then they're having the teens come, and Parks and Arts is supplying, the materials and the barrels. And so I thought that you had said that you were interested maybe in adding the special needs group.
Sure.
Aside from just the teens.
Yeah.
And, I'm wondering, and that you might help with that. And so I'm wondering if, we could connect
Yeah, with Jandy.
with, is it Janie?
Jandy, yeah.
Jandy at the library.
Oh.
Because if we needed more barrels, we probably have it in the budget, because we only ordered
Four,
four.
I think around 300
Yeah, and I think we were originally gonna order 6, so we could probably get a couple more barrels if we wanted to do a section for special needs to participate in the
Are
project.
they like the wine barrels?
No, they're great big metal barrels like in
Just-
parks.
Just the regular steel drums?
Yes,
55 gallon.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, so do they come, like, how do you get them? Are they painted already? Are they just unpainted?
I believe they're black right now. They're sitting on a pallet outside.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so it has some kind of coating on it.
Yeah.
So they just kind of, you wanna, make sure that, that they weather well. I mean, the cleanest is using acrylic paints. But sometimes when you're putting acrylic on an oil base or a solvent based paint, you don't get as good an adhesion. So there may be some things you could do, like scuffing them, getting them, brazing them, because you want some tooth on the barrels. Probably, if you're painting directly on them.
well, maybe Jen, you could send him the library contact information.
And you could coordinate with Jandy maybe.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and if you need a couple extra barrels, if you're gonna run a special needs painting group, then would that be agreeable with the commissioners if we need to order another barrel or two?
Yeah.
And that's all.
And you can seal them also, when it's all done,
Yeah,
just put a
right.
seal on, or maybe a couple coats.
Yeah. So have any of them been done yet?
No,
How many do you have in total?
right now we have 4 barrels. I mean, this is a very pilot project, and the library is just advertising it out now, I think.
Oh, are they?
Exciting.
Well, I can check, I know them at the library.
Oh, okay.
So I can just go over there and talk to them about it. and
Yeah, and if
see.
it looks like it works and we need to get a few more barrels and some more paint, then I really think we already approved the purchase of 6 barrels, so.
Oh, okay.
We could go ahead and get a couple more, and,
And where are they gonna be placed?
at the parks, maybe City Hall,
Oh,
yeah, so just around and about in the community where people can see them,
okay,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I can organize.
Well, it sounds like the library would be thrilled with your level of expertise on this.
well, it'd be kind of fun to get some people involved in it.
Yeah, well, I can't thank you enough for bringing that up, and if you don't mind contacting the library and then
Sure.
kind of, you know, shoot me an email or something if it looks like we need more barrels, and
Oh, sure.
we'll make it happen.
Yeah, okay, I'll work on that.
Okay, all right, well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming.
So I had another question. This was regarding the mural at the park. Is there any talk at the Pavilion Park, the one that I did a few years back?
On the building?
Yeah, is there any chance that you might put a plaque or some kind of a QR code or something that could send people to a link? Cause that's kind of one of the things I always thought, you know, it'd be so great for people to know who's actually in the mural and what's going on in there. Like all the musicians who are in there, because they're actually real people in Liberty Lakes history.
We've talked about either having something that would direct back to the city website, or I've been meeting with the Steinmillers on the historical background of we've pre-approved a project for like a kiosk or like I don't know, like one of the wayfinding board type things up higher in the park that would explain not only the mural, but the significance of building and the history of the park and
the history of the carousel and where that's at.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've definitely talked about it. I don't know that we've decided on, is it best to have it go back to the city website, or there were some, I think we actually, well, initially with you, we talked about like an interactive app almost, right, with the QR code.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean, everybody's got their
prohibitive at the time.
Yeah, everybody's got their devices. I mean, you just basically have to have the setup for to create a link. And then you have to have the page that has all that information on it, which I mean, it just takes a little time, but it'd probably be the simplest.
Yeah, and also has all the information.
Some kind of a QR or an AR code, something there that, you know, they click on and that automatically takes them. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, people have their phones and they're using them all the time anyway. But
that does sound like the simplest way to do it. And then if the QR code's right there when they're actually at the mural, they can bring it right up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
We'll have to put that back on our radar.
Yeah. Okay, well, if there's if that's all you were wanted me to bring in, then great.
Yeah, I think so. Right
Keep you
now.
posted, I guess.
All right, well, that'd be great. Thank you so much for coming in.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, next up is Tinker Garden.
And if you don't mind, I'll do a brief introduction. We have had Tinker Garden before in the past. It's been a few years, but they had programs in our parks, and we had an agreement with them, a contract. This was pre Parks and Arts Commission. So, but again, rather than just jump into an agreement with them, even though we've had one, I asked Annie if she could come to the commission, similar to what we did with the yoga contract, and have her kind of do a little brief presentation of what they are, what they're proposing, and kind of go from there. So, Annie?
Hello, thank you guys for having me. Haley's actually here with me as well. So Haley's another Tinker Garden teacher in Spokane, and we just want to share a little bit with you about our program. So we both have littles and we didn't have care. That's why we had to be on Zoom, but if it's possible, I will share my screen with you.
Let me give it a try here. Let me stop my share. I think you can go ahead and try. Should be good to go.
So share desktop. Grant access. Sorry, I have to grant access. Maybe I can't. Haley, can you do it?
Click file at the top. You might have the share drop down at the top.
It's asking me to go to security and privacy and update my settings to be able to share my screen.
it's something you could email me real quick, I could share it from my end. I don't know if it's.
Yep. Let me put you on. What's your email?
It's the JCAMP.
Yep.
At Liberty.
Yep. Okay, so I've shared a slideshow with you. And if you can get that up, great. It's got pictures which kind of sell Tinkergarten for us. But Haley and I will just give you an overview of a program. So Tinkergarten is a inquiry-based learning program for children who are about 18 months to 8 years. It's a parent-attended class. It's not a drop-off of any sort, usually. We meet outdoors in the parks, and we follow a curriculum that aims to teach about learning, teach about nature. Super, there we are. And we have a whole lot of fun while we do it. So this is a group of ours that met here in Spokane a couple sessions ago. So how it works, if you want to go to the next slide, the outdoors is our classroom. There's no walls, and we use what we find in nature to sort of guide our play. It's open-ended and child-led, and we use invitations to play to sort of spark what we're doing with in our classes. Haley, do you have more you want to add? I don't want to.
No, I think you're you've got it covered so far. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go on, Jen, one more. So like I said, it's for ages about 18 months to 8. We have a maximum class size of about 15. We meet usually for 9 lessons in a season, and we try to encourage year-round participation. So this is from our winter season. We were chopping up ice blocks with hammers and salt and warm water and seeing what happened when we used different mediums to see if we could freeze the frozen ice worms in our play. We try to encourage community. So we encourage the parents to get to know each other, to meet up for park play dates outside of class, and just to get kids and adults outside year round, learning and having fun as we go. So we can go on to the next slide. So our selling point is that Tinkergarten is inquiry-based. It's experiential learning. It emphasizes sensory play. Like I mentioned, it's child-led. We use a lot of research to guide our practices and our pedagogy and what we teach. And we hope that it builds and supports our community. Next one. What makes our program unique? It tends to teach approaches to learning. So it's not a content-based program, but rather tries to help children develop skills that they might need when they go on to a school setting. So we try to work on our focus, our empathy, problem solving, perseverance, wellness, and taking care of ourselves, creativity, and we really emphasize sensory play. We have the ability to be outside, we smell, we taste, we touch, we make a whole lot of mud. And then through all of that, we're working on our communication skills. And the next one. So currently I'm teaching 2 classes in Spokane right now. I have one at Manitou Park and one at Marabou Point. We'd like to bring it to Liberty Lake. Haley's working on offering another class at Manitou, maybe Finch Arboretum. And if we can get some interest in Liberty Lake.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then last one. Yeah, so we just wanted to talk to you about what it looks like, what you need from us, if it's something that you'd like to see in Liberty Lake, and if so, how we sort of go about setting it up.
So next steps would be to have the commission agree to move it forward to City Council for approval as an agreement. It would be a 3-year agreement, and 20% of registration fees go back to the city as a cost recovery. They would utilize Pavilion or Rocky or Orchard Park or Rotate. There would be a schedule attached to the agreement, and the appropriate certificate of insurance would have to be provided, which they have in the past. They've completed all of the things to the city's satisfaction. So again, next steps would be to have the commission in support of this, so that when we move it forward to City Council, we can state in the agenda bill that the commission is supportive of this as a recreation program, which is one of the Parks and Arts Commission's responsibilities.
Okay. What is the registration cost?
Right now, it's kind of changed. So Tinker Garden used to have a centralized system that set the registration cost at $220 for a 9-week session. They've just kind of changed how they've done it. And Haley and I have both had to create our own LLCs to house the program, and we're able to set our own fee. I personally felt that $220 was expensive for the Spokane Valley, particularly the Spokane Valley area. So I brought the price down to $165. I will say that I have 10 participants I have more than 10 participants now, but I needed 10 to actually break even. So it did cost quite a bit of money to set up the LLC and make the website and do the insurance, to pay the parks fees. So at this point, I'm spending a lot of time. My kids love it and I take them and it's enjoyable, but it's, we may have to put it up a little bit because I'm not barely breaking even at 10 participants.
Yeah,
That's 1 day per week?
Yes.
And how long is that for? Is it for a number of weeks, months?
It's for 9 weeks typically. Sometimes in the summer, we double up on lessons, or I may run a camp this summer, a Tinker Garden camp, 5 or 6 days in a row. But usually for the fall, winter, and spring, it's one 1-hour lesson for 9 consecutive weeks.
I know my grandkids go to a co-op, which is somewhat similar, and I think they learn more than that. And I think this is a great idea.
Super.
Any questions, commissioners, or concerns?
I love it. My child and I participated in Tinker Garden when he was a toddler. The class taught by my son and I participated in Tinker Garden when he was a toddler, and the class was taught by another lifelong Liberty Lakean with whom I've gone to school here with since first grade. We absolutely loved it. So Rocky Hill Park is great.
Awesome.
It would be a very rewarding and enriching experience for children and parents alike.
Anything else? Is everyone comfortable with moving this ahead to council? Laura?
No, I think it's a fantastic program and I'm excited to have it offered here in Liberty Lake. One question was, this is year round? I'm assuming just in 9-week blocks.
Yes.
So each season has a 9-week block.
Thank you.
We need a motion to get that presented to.
It would be best. It'd make it more formal.
So you said it's a 3-year agreement and then they can run the classes year round. It's at their discretion.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I move that Parks and Arts Commission have the Tinker Garden 3-year contract presented to the City Council for approval.
I second. All in favor? All right. Unanimous.
Super. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming. We really appreciate it, ladies.
Bye. Have a good night.
I'll reach out to you through email on what next steps look like.
Okay, thanks so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, our next agenda item is the Daughters of American Republic Never Forget Garden. Discussion on the monument stone. Do we have anyone?
Yes, both Janet and Rayanne are on, so I don't know who wants to take this. I think they're, Janet and Rayanne, with the document that you emailed, there were some questions about cost, actual dollar cost, if you have that number. But I'll let you go ahead and take it. And everybody, the document is in your packet if you want to look at that.
Yeah, so the document I think you're referring to is the examples from Argonne, Woodlawn, and Zion Hill cemeteries.
Yes, that's the one.
And I did get a couple other proposals. One for a rock and the engraving for $12.50, and another one for the granite and the monument for $3.50. It just depends on what you want it to look like. after I had sent you that, you had someone looking for a stone from your crew. So I wasn't sure what you guys decided it should look like.
I don't think we have decided quite yet. Hopefully that will be the goal today, is to kind of be able to pin something down and move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this, and a lot of these three examples are mostly monument stones. I can't tell so much on the top one, but commissioners, it's apparent that we could also do some kind of a boulder instead of a monument stone, but I don't know, is the plaque part of it with the inscription always the same, like what we see on the example? Because I don't know what would attach to a boulder.
Right, exactly. I was questioning the boulder just because of Orchard Park and the flag. There's a limited amount of space around that with the illumination. So that's why I was suggesting maybe the granite, something that was a little bit smaller that would contain the plaque and the engraving.
Mm-hmm. On these three examples we have, I don't see prices on those. Could you tell us what the price is for the Argonne, the Woodlawn, and the Zion example that we have?
I can only address the Zion Hill one, which is $350. And I think Rayanna can give you prices on the other two.
Right, I think the one at Argonne, that's about 1.5 years old now, but I think that was right around between $350 and $400 as well. And that was at that time. I'm not sure what today's prices would be. We'd have to scope that out at the time. And I don't have that paper. What was the third one?
Woodlawn Cemetery on Thierman Road in Spokane Valley.
Okay, all the ones, we had 7 of them done by Fairmont Memorial Association, and we did not pay for those. Those were donated, the granite and the work with the marker itself. That was all donated by Fairmont. So I don't have a real price on that.
Okay. Is all the expense to be incurred by the City of Liberty Lake, or do you have some funds to contribute towards the project?
We do have funds to contribute. And the top picture, the current estimate on that one with engraving is $1,250. And it would be a bigger basalt splint or plinth, but I think that slab might be too big to go in that location, was why I was recommending the upright granite or the marble.
Remind me, I thought we had discussed expanding the garden perimeter to have a little more, am I confusing it with a different location?
I don't remember discussing expanding it. We could, but I think that will just extend this.
I was just trying to, we've talked about a lot of different locations, and I know one of them had a smaller perimeter, and we had talked about what we could always.
We talked about removing plant material in the tree at Town Square when we were discussing that, but I don't remember.
I think somebody actually said that maybe it could be made larger, but
that was John that brought that.
Okay,
it was just.
I was just trying to remember where we left that.
I heard the same comment, but we didn't really go down that road very far.
Well, the location is Orchard Park, and the green space around the flag has illumination in the ground, and it's surrounded by a concrete border that's used for mowing. So I'm guessing there'd be limitations there.
Right. So how much of the project can the DAR fund?
We can do all of it, but putting it in, and I'm assuming you guys can put it in.
Yeah, we can have Trevor, you're on. Are you listening? Can I volunteer you to do that?
Yeah, we can install it, definitely. And I did pull numbers for like a large basalt rock to have them cut it and mount it, and he verbally quoted me between $800 and $1,000.
Yeah,
and I think that would look the best because there's basalt rock in the flagpole currently.
And then Trevor, if we were to go that route and it could be cut flat enough where I don't know what else to call it, the plaque with the inscription could be mounted on that in some fashion.
Yes, the company said they could handle that as well. They would do everything for us, and all we would have to do is pick it up and install it.
And Trevor, who are you working with? The place that I got was from Gibson's Nursery. With that, we've worked with them before.
This is from Sunrise. It's in Otis Orchards.
Okay. And do you have the paperwork I sent? Is it similar to that top one where it's a slice of the basalt?
Yes, it is very similar to that. The guy said he could do a 45 angled cut, so it's kind of propped up, easy for people to read.
Right. So where does the engraving go? Because that's the other thing that makes it become a bigger, maybe too big for it or whatever.
What do you mean by the engraving? Because it's all on your plaque, right? That would be installed on this basalt rock.
Well, we had hoped to put our group, the Rotary, the Liberty Lake Parks and Arts Commission, and also one of our sponsors' names on it. So at least 4 names were going to be engraved on the stonework.
Okay, that is not something that I mentioned to him.
Yeah, and I don't know if they could do that on that basalt.
Yeah.
It might have to be like a separate
separate plaque or something.
Like a metal plaque, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So do you recall how wide the basalt was?
I would say it was probably a couple, maybe like a couple feet, I would guess. They had a bunch of different options, and he just verbally quoted me. And so once we decide that's what we want to do, maybe we could all meet out there and pick the best option.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
Well, I would totally appeal to you as far as the aesthetics, because you know the park, and I was out there too, and there's definitely, with the stonework around that pavilion area is that would look more natural. Yeah.
Right. No, I agree.
So Janet, I got a question.
Yeah.
Putting the garden and the monument in Orchard Park by the flag. And that monument, it shows the signs here, it's not very big. So it seems like there'd be a path or warm grass if there's no path to go read about the monument. You know what I'm saying? Get off the path, go onto the grass to read about the monument.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a concern. You might ask Trevor. You can see everything from standing outside the encircled border right now because it's that small.
Yeah, unless we put it closer to the path by the flag.
I think people will end up coming at it from multiple directions. They aren't going to just choose one.
Not going to be like a deer trail.
A goat path. No, and that turf is pretty darn thick.
Well, it's important for the Never Forget Garden to be by the flag. Are you suggesting a different location or?
Yeah, that's one of the official requirements is that there be a flag at where the monument is.
Yeah, I mean, I think by the flag is great, and if it becomes a problem over time, then maybe, we could get a Boy Scout to install a little stone path or trail up to it or something, who knows, but.
Boy Scout project.
Yeah. So would it be feasible for Trevor to work with DAR and come up with something that would look more natural like the basalt? What's the pleasure of the commission?
I prefer the basalt option. It'd be nice if you're trying to add engravings to see maybe a little mock-up or proof of it before approving it for production.
And I need to double check the donation ordinance, but this will need to go to council for approval as well, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, a sketch or a mock-up would be helpful.
Yeah, so if you guys don't mind getting together and researching it with Sunrise and coming up with a mock-up and a plan that we could approve, and then we could send to council because of the extra kind of recognition part of the project, then we can get that going, I think.
Yeah, because it's slated to hopefully be dedicated on Memorial Day, which is coming right up. My question is there a reason that we're going with Sunrise rather than Gibson's, or could they both give us a bid, or what's the situation there?
No, we would, if the DAR is funding this, it's completely your decision where to purchase this. It's just that Sunrise is close and that's who we contacted. If you have a different preference, then that's up to you. That's not our decision. If we're purchasing it based on the cost, we have a procurement process that we have to follow. And sometimes we have to obtain 3 quotes for things. So depending on what the cost is, but if the city isn't funding this and the DAR is funding this, then really at the end of the day, it's up to you with the commission's blessing.
Sunrise has rocks on site. I don't
They have a pretty extensive, they've been doing it for many, many, many years, and they've been doing rock engraving. I know I had a rock engraved from them for my father. They do a great job. They're very knowledgeable. They have a huge selection, probably bigger than Gibson's. But again, it's your decision.
Well, I would be happy to work with Trevor on that.
Okay,
great.
So why don't I connect Trevor? Why don't I'll send an email tomorrow and connect everybody together, and then we can kind of go from there and look at next steps. And yes, this as a donation will likely have to go to City Council for approval. So that's another thing that can tend to slow down the process. So we definitely want to keep moving on this if the goal is to get it completed by Memorial Weekend.
And Jen, you had originally sent me a donation form. Is that still valid for City Council?
That is the one, yes.
Okay, so you only need the plaque because you guys are doing the rock, or how do I need to do that?
If you're funding the rock and the plaque, then it all needs to go on that donation form. If we are funding the rock or the commission is funding the rock, then that doesn't go on the donation form, just the plaque. So it depends on who's funding the rock and the plaque. Whatever's being funded by DAR will need to go on that donation form for council approval.
Okay.
And just for our clarification, that would be the rock and the plaque, correct?
And the engraving as well.
The engraving.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the city is only responsible for the installation, which you said your group did. Okay.
So we do have a budget limit. If it should exceed that, can we approach the parks to pick up the other part? I'm thinking it won't be a problem. But.
Right. Hopefully that won't be a problem with the size of the stone we're going to have to use because of the space. But if it is a problem, then just let us know.
Okay.
And we do have another meeting May 2nd, which is a short turnaround because this meeting was so late in April. So that way I would say we really should get this wrapped up May 2nd. Because we're getting really close to the timeline because I would have to have it on the council packet for May 3rd. I wouldn't have it by May 3rd, I don't think. So it'd be the second council meeting in May. So it's really getting down to the wire.
Can they submit the donation form at the May 3rd, or do you have to have all the details buttoned up to be able to get?
I technically need all the details, but I'm wondering if you could put on the donation form up to a certain dollar amount, because on that form it requires what is it you're donating and what is the value of it.
Okay.
And if you put on there up to a max amount, and we can go ahead and I could start working on getting that to council so that doesn't slow us down.
Okay. And this representative photo, right? If we're leaning towards the salts, then we can at least include that so that doesn't hinder the process. Because if we have to wait until the later May meeting, like you said,
we definitely need to
slow things down
on it.
Good idea.
So why don't you go ahead and complete that form if you don't mind, as quickly as possible, and I will do my best to get it on the May 3rd meeting.
Okay.
I'll email you the details of when
you're sending the information to me that Trevor has, or I can get some.
I'm gonna look you and Trevor together so that you two can coordinate that part of it.
Yeah, I don't mind doing the paperwork at all. I just need to see what has gotten for an estimate.
Sure.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This is an exciting project, and it's a nice addition to Orchard Park.
Fantastic. So I will be in contact with Trevor and we'll get that figured out.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, we're up to Tom and the Trailhead Rotary Art Project.
So we had two artists make submissions, and we chose this one. And it's from Anya Matitoda. She's secretary at Liberty Lake School, and she's also a graphic artist. This is basically 3D, and it's going to be in back of the water fountain. This is going to be 9 feet high, 4 feet wide, which will fit in that hole. And then the fountain will be, and water filling station would be down by the brighter blue down the bottom. And that's going to be wood. It'll be water paint, but it'll be sealed very well. The force, that's going to be metal fabricated by Bobby Weiss at his fabrication place here in Liberty Lake. And then the work of art, the wood, I think she's choosing walnut, and she went this past weekend to Windsor Plywood or someplace just to see, what's going to take a stain very well. And she said she might not even have to stain it because walnut's so pretty. And then up above, that's going to be metal. Bobby Weiss is also going to fabricate that, and he'll cut out these stars. It's going to be backlit because the women's bathroom's in back of that. And so there's going to be an access panel in the women's bathroom. So we could maybe put LED lights or pixel lights. So the stars will light up. So like Valentine's Day, they could be red. St. Patrick's Day, they could be green. And so on and so forth. And we just felt like this would stand the test of time. I figured in 20 years, great grandkids come in there and they say, hey, that's pretty neat, for the first time. So, so Anya's been working with the superintendent, James, and I told him I could help any way possible. I did find out the walls are going to be light gray, so this is going to really stand out very well. And Rotary's paying for the whole thing. But just keeping you guys informed, because it is a work of art, it is in the relay. Any questions? But this will, like I say, this will be, it's going to be 3D, so it'll be about, maybe 2.5 inches out in layers.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions? And people were scared about this being watercolors. We can do more with watercolors. And then part of Anya's bid was, it's going to be a gallon of stain or a gallon of sealer. And you buy a water station, it will be sealed. So I'm not worried about that. You get a former painter.
So did you form a selection committee to pick the design then, or?
No, we don't mess with artists. It's their design.
No, but I mean, you chose between the two, the Melissa Cole and.
Oh, well, yeah, and I met with Melissa Cole also. And hers, this doesn't do it justice, but it was going to be a mosaic tile.
Her work's beautiful. That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, she is in Spokane Valley, and she has a great website. But I got a feeling I'm keeping her name and number because I got a feeling in the future we might be using her.
Did you have a committee that picked between the two then? Or?
We had the committee, our board did, and then we presented it to the group in one of our meetings, which is now held Tuesdays at the library until the trailhead's finished. But I think it's pretty good.
Very pretty.
And like I said, we're going to keep the cost down because Bobby Weiss is a fabrication company for metal.
Exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we move to thanks for sharing that.
What's that?
I said thanks for sharing
okay.
that. So before we move to the next agenda item under unfinished, Laura, did you have any update on the call to artists?
Yes, and I apologize. I did love that slide. So I did reach out to some of the individuals that we had discussed about forming the selection committee, just to kind of start to piece together a timeline. And then once I get those responses, I'll send a packet to everybody with the artwork, and I can send that to you as well, Jen, to share with the commission all the submissions. And then get the committee, the selection panel together to meet. We didn't have, and I apologize, I don't know the number off the top of my head. We didn't have a huge number of submissions, so I don't know that we'll necessarily need to whittle it down to finalists, but that will be up to the panel to decide. But we certainly had enough quality submissions to be able to, I think, to pick a good mural for the courts.
Great, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I have communicated with all of the artists as well, just to let them know that where we are in the process. And everybody that submitted was fine with the August timeline, or the potential of the August timeline, and has the flexibility to work with the city.
Okay, great, thank you so much. So now we'll move to item number 7 on our agenda. The introduction to
CFP. So in your packets, I printed off our adopted CFP for 2023 through 2028. Says draft, but this was adopted by council. In it, if you turn to page 4, I'm just going to give you a high-level overview of this so you kind of understand what you're looking at. You'll see a spreadsheet, and it's the beginning of 4 spreadsheets. These spreadsheets are the capital facilities plan. So the first spreadsheet is large projects, transportation projects. So that's roads, that's overlays, that's sidewalks, anything to do with transportation. There may be a time where the commission might have some interest in one of these projects. For example, if we do another roundabout and you wanted to do art at the time of build for the roundabout, right? Most of what is done here, though, is probably not going to be of interest to the commission. A lot of it is fixing roads and things like that, adding sidewalks. So not to say you wouldn't want to do a project in something in the transportation, but probably won't look at this too awfully often, but it's there for your reading. The second spreadsheet on page 5 is the one that you'll want to pay the most attention to. This is the one where we have parks information, we have facilities information. These are all the potential projects that will be coming up in the next 5 years that the city staff puts together for council, a proposal. It's based off of our asset management software program. So it's things like, will the library need a new roof in the next 6 years? Yes, they tell us we need one in 4 years, so we add it to this list. It also has, if you look at PF-5, it shows the public art fund, which is your fund, the Parks and Arts Commission fund. That goes under that line item. And that number comes from your strategic plan budget. So I just take that number and insert it here. So that's all the projects that you have slated for next year. It has things like, I'm looking at PF6, Pavilion Park improvements. On that, I do believe it's either, I think it's the 2025 or the 2026. Oh no, actually I think it's the 2024 project, the 305,000. And I'd have to go back and look at the detail. But in one of those years is slated the new playground that's coming due at Pavilion. That's in there, right? That number is in there. The Rocky Hill shade structure, I do believe, is in one of these. Yeah, that's PF3. That's been in this plan for, I don't know, like 6 years now and hasn't been done. So anything that has to do with the park is you're going to find in the Parks and Public Facilities spreadsheet, which is that page. The other 2 spreadsheets are, it's all of our equipment purchases and technology. So it's computers and equipment. I don't know that you would ever need to utilize that spreadsheet. And the last one you wouldn't need to utilize because it's capital projects by others. So let's say it's the county or it's a WashDOT project, something that really the city isn't funding, but it maybe falls inside the city's purview or limits. Might, I mean, the Kramer Parkway, so the Harvard Road and Wellington Roundabout is in that one. So again, I guess there could be probably some potential in those projects. So keep an eye on that page, that spreadsheet. And then the last page to pay attention to is page 8. And this is unfunded projects. So the council has agreed that they wanted to keep a list of priority projects, dog-eared, that not necessarily on any particular to be funded spreadsheet previously of the 4 spreadsheets. So the example I'm going to use is dog park. It's been in discussion with council for many years. They've chosen not to fund it. They've chosen not to prioritize it with a timeline or a dollar amount. But what they've said is they've amongst themselves, we want to look further into this project. We don't want to see this fall off the radar. So this keeps it on the radar for them. It may get a future discussion, you know, next budget season, maybe there's a desire to move forward with it. Then it goes on to one of those four spreadsheets I just ran you through. So it's a list of ideas that are still important to the council, but they have yet to be dated and they have yet to be funded or determined to be funded. So they're just placeholders for these projects as potential future projects. So that's kind of an important one because I know the dog park, if that ever comes to fruition, I think that the Parks and Arts Commission would be a fairly substantial part of that plan. You know, a splash pad at Rocky Hill Park UF-7, that would be something that you would want to weigh in on as a commission, and several of these would be very Parks and Arts Commission centric projects. Yeah. So they're in the works, but they're placeholders. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. The other pages are just descriptions and summaries of each of those spreadsheets. So if you want further detail on, let's say, let me go back to the Parks and Public Facilities, page 5. Let's say you wanted to know more about PF-6, which is Pavilion Park improvements for the year 2023. I have added a summary to that as a director. If you go to PF6, it'll explain to you what all is included in that dollar figure for 2023. Now, it doesn't go out into the 6 years. We only focus on the next year budget for budget reasons. The document where the spreadsheet is, it does go out 6 years. It's projected out 6 years, but the summary only describes the next budget season. So this document describes 2023. So as you're looking at the detail, it's going to describe only the projects that are slated for 2023. Yes. Question.
So I heard city council was approached about building another storage shed.
Yes.
At Orchard Park.
Correct.
100 feet by 40.
Yes.
We'll take down our containers for winter low and then we can store things in there.
Tentatively, yes.
So that would leave 100 feet and there will be a door to the left facing south. Yeah, facing south.
Okay.
And then the other doors will be on the other side. 2 other doors. But being 100 feet, that's going to leave a space for a possible mural as a thought.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah. We haven't brought that to the commission because we're still trying to figure out how to even make this building happen. Okay. So yeah, still too early.
I heard it wasn't really going to cost a lot, but
yeah, the cost keeps going up and up and up. And then there's discussion with our city attorney on there's discussion with our city attorney on the procurement side of how we have to go about this. So before we bring this to the commission, we need to get all the bugs worked out. There's no sense in wasting the commission's time with details that this project that you're talking about is changing every day, it seems like. Okay. So until we have detail and a solid something, there's no sense in, but yes, that discussion between Mark Saba and Lisa, this is kind of their wheelhouse, yes, there's probably potential for some kind of a mural there on a building, future building. Yeah. But we need to figure out the building first. So I hope that helps. Yeah. We will start working on this probably in the next 2 months for 2024 budget season and updating it. And now that I know you have interest in it, I will take you along the ride of how we go about prioritizing projects in here. And as I start to set the parks and facilities improvement spreadsheet side of it, I'll keep you all updated and in the loop of any potential projects that could happen next year. One of which I believe is that playground. So
yeah, and I think that's great. So that way that we know that projects come around through the commission and on things that have an ability to even be functional in parks or to be functional art or just to be art. And so I think it's a great step in opening up that kind of communication line so that we're all on the same page. Definitely. Okay. Any questions on the capital improvement plan? So shall we move on to the donation ordinance, which has already come up once?
Yes, so this, I printed it all off for your reading. It was updated about 3 or 4 years ago with our city council. So you see 168A, A is the update. I just wanted to print this off for you, so that you understand our process and what goes to city council for approval. It doesn't go to city council for approval. It also has naming rights under section 3. I know that, Nancy and I were talking the other day about sponsorship names going on the multi-care or the town court. So we do have a process that we have to follow regarding accepting donations and naming rights and sponsorships. And so I just thought I'm not going to get into this. It's for your reading pleasure. But it shows you what the ins and outs are of how we accept a donation and what the process is. And it guides staff on what we need to do. For example, with what we'll have to do with the plaque and the rock and the donation. And a lot of it is based on what the dollar amount total is. Some of it's based on, is it cash or is it real property? Whether the mayor can accept it or it has to go through a council approval process. So,
right. And on the Hooptown USA project, we know that we're getting a donation from Hooptown. I don't know if I guess at some point I need to find out they purchase it. That's probably a big deal.
Yeah, and so donations are really important. They play a really important part of the Parks and Arts Commission process. If there is a donation, it has to go to council. We have to time that appropriately so it doesn't slow down the process. So if there's a donation for Hooptown, we're gonna have to make sure we get that in because we want that approved prior to pursuing any project, just in the council. We don't bet that council's always a for sure approval, although I wouldn't think they wouldn't approve it. But
I'll reach out to them and see if it's just funding or if they purchase it and if they install. I'll find out how that works because they obviously have a precedent because they've worked with the city of Spokane before.
Yeah, and if they have questions about sponsorship or naming rights, you can defer to this document. If there's still confusion or questions, then we can dig further with our city attorney.
Yeah, well, they won't get naming rights given what they're going to be doing. But once the Call to Artists selection committee picks something, then hopefully we can use whatever the submission is to create some kind of a sheet that we could go to some local businesses and stuff and try to get some sponsorships. But I kind of glanced at the donation policy and I'm still a little unsure about how we would recognize sponsors at the site, given what the project looks like.
Yeah, and we have city code that makes it challenging for us to hang signage. So STCU it's easy with STCU because on the box wraps, they just took a small space where they put STCU and the logo on there. So we'll have to.
And you don't want to put up a sign that a kid's going to run into when they go flying off the court.
And if it has to be 75% of it, then how would you recognize multiple or?
Yeah, I'm assuming Hooptown USA is maybe going to put something on the backboard is probably what they would do.
That would be my assumption based on their other parts.
Good place.
But what if it's a Hooptown basketball hoop? The backboard is just a Hooptown board.
But say a local business wanted to be a part of the project and support it financially in some way, something bank or something credit union, how are we going to recognize them?
And maybe it's one sign that has the names. I mean, I don't know.
Or they have like in the center court, the circle, the tip-off circle. That's where I've seen a lot of the logos for multi-care because they had the ground.
Could we have multiple sponsors in the center?
And I think you probably could, but that's more of a question in terms of the city and the naming rights is
Yeah.
how strict that is.
And we haven't done it before, so this is all new territory that we'll have to.
And see, I doubt we're gonna get anybody that's gonna fund 75% of the project. So it's probably gonna be, you know, say 4 or 5 smaller.
Maybe you just take a border around the outer edge, you know,
Could, or you have those 2 rectangular sections that are for the hockey field, you know, floor hockey or lacrosse that are maintained in the striping.
do the
Have a couple of
sponsors there for the lower.
I think you have some other opportunities in the striping where you could have multiple of those.
Once we see the submission and we see where
Yeah.
there's a spot, then we can figure out how that fits in the plan. Then we have something to sell.
You have something to sell and you can maybe attach a dollar value to it. So like if you wanted that center court, that's 75% of the project cost. And if you want it to be the lower dollar, then you can have the other corners or other locations identified at those funds.
If we don't get a 75%, I guess the city logo will be going in there.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for coming. All right, so now, any questions about the donation ordinance or anything? We'll just keep figuring it out as we go along. So we're on to the staff report, which is now item 7.
Yeah, and I don't know that we're gonna have enough people here to vote on this. In fact, we don't have enough people to. Do you have like 5 minutes? The Rocky Hill Shade Structure, we really need to get moving forward on this. So I really need, some thought on allowing us to move forward. We don't have many options with it, with the funding that we have set aside for it.
So it's my understanding that before we found a new way to get stuff in and out of the Parks and Arts Commission, that this wasn't touched by the commission. You already have a budget for basically the same thing that's over the picnic table area.
So this is what it looks like. This is what I wanted to show you. It's generic. I mean, the really the only thing that you can weigh in on as a commission is move forward or don't, or the color scheme, which for Rocky Hill, it would make sense to do the barn red color if we can get the barn red, because that's the theme of the park. This is, again, this is not an art project. This is truly cloth. It's like the shade silk cloth at Pavilion that we use for the stage. It's kind of a little bit of a clear mesh. It's like sunscreen. Yeah, it's not solid. I don't think. I need to confirm that actually. So I don't know if you want to vote while Noelle's here or not vote, or we just, staff needs to move forward on this.
Are you trying to get it up this summer or before summer?
Yeah, but well, you could probably wait till May 2nd, I suppose, when we have more people here. And Bob, should I know, Bob, is that you? Bob just came online.
What do you think, Laura?
So we put it to May 2nd. We really need to move forward on this though, because there's a procurement process that has to go through council and before we can even get started on it. And if I don't know even what their scheduling is. Slope, do you know what their scheduling is?
I do not know.
So
I mean, you're not looking for weigh in on the design, you're just looking for weigh in on
moving forward, getting this thing done.
What's it made of?
It's like sunscreen material.
Okay. So all of the wind?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is not a homeowner grade. This is industrial. They come in, they install it. It's professionally done, specifically for playgrounds. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. I'm all for moving forward on this project.
If you wanted to turn it into something artistic, then we won't have time to get it done this year. It would need to go to 2024 with a lot more discussion, further discussion.
Remind me where this is going in, just directly over the playground.
Yeah.
Is this affixing to the structure itself, or this is just?
Goes over the top. For shade.
Do you wanna put it off till May 2nd? Do you wanna make a decision today? Does anybody have any discussion?
And where's it gonna be located?
Rocky Hill Park over the playground equipment, so the kids don't get burned.
Oh, over the
Slate
Slide,
structure, yeah.
the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I motion we approve this as is over the playground equipment at Rocky Park.
You have a second?
Yes, a second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, or do you have a discussion?
No, I mean, it still just goes back to
Yeah, this one got missed.
form and function.
Yeah,
So
and we can wait, it's,
I think if you wait, then you're saying waiting till May 2nd doesn't change. I think the discussion is this year or not this year.
right,
Right, if you wanted to make it more artistic, but in terms of it's something that the city staff has been trying to get done and
right.
has the information and material, so
Yeah, it is what it is.
I don't know that it's worth delaying another year.
Yeah. All right, all in favor? Approved, unanimously. All right. Yes, Mike, we'll let you know about the staff report. Is there any other decision making items on this?
No, that was the only one. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And everything on the staff report, I don't really have any updates on the parks facilities side, trailhead, public works yard, or the Kramer overpass. They're all in motion right now. The events, I'll let you read through those. If there are any questions, holler at me. And then recreation update, obviously, went through the Tinkergarten yoga contract is on the agenda for council to approve tomorrow night. Skyhawk Super Tots and Challengers are filling up quickly. Bicycle Communities is a huge undertaking that I wasn't prepared for, so I'm not prepared to provide you with any information right now. I will get back to you on that. And then if anybody hasn't done the OPMA renewals, please do so. I'm not sure who there's a couple, one or two people left. Can't remember who. You and Nancy. I think Tom might be on that list. So, and then monthly report for tomorrow for council, Laura?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool.
But anything specific?
Well, I would update on Hooptown, and I would update on,
DAR?
what?
DAR?
Yes,
DAR.
DAR, and then the mural, call the artist, and then the DAR.
Tinkergarten, or that's there?
Yeah, that'd be great to mention Tinkergarten. Just kind of highlighting some of the things that we went through today, even the trash barrels.
Do they know about the road reels?
Yeah.
The big one to me is like the selection committee, and we're having a city council person on that.
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't received the confirmation. We had talked about asking Dan Dunn, so I did reach out to him. I just haven't heard back from him. So
did you hear back from?
I heard back from Dirk either. I sent him a note. I'll call him. I just sent him an email, so I'll call him to follow up. And then Trevor, I put Trevor's on, and I'm hoping that you're still interested as well. I know he had said yes.
Oh yeah, meeting, so. And I think Trevor, are you still on for the selection committee for Hooptown?
Yeah, definitely.
He's excited about that. Okay. And then you and Laura can connect at some point to put the plaque in up at the Rocky Sculptures. Very good, awesome.
For me, Thursday morning.
Okay. So that's all I have.
Okay. So anything for the greater good, or otherwise we'll see everyone. It'll quick turnaround on May 2nd. All right, we're adjourned.